Creepypasta time. If you somehow found this book, lock it away. Do not read on. The tome was in mint condition for something that had been floating down the river for God knows how long. You would have expected the leather binding to have been bloated and gnarled by the moisture, but it was somehow pristine. It had no writing or markings on the outside, no title or author. I ran my index finger along the creases in the leather. It was somehow dry to the touch despite me having only moments ago fished it out of the river. The foreboding inscription on the first page gave me pause. I was half ready to chuck the sodding thing back into the river to feed the trout. I wish I had. I studied the sky. Heavy silver clouds revealed that it would rain soon. I reeled in my fishing line for the day, placed the book into my satchel and started heading home. I pulled my muddy boots off at the front door, gave a half-hearted hi to my mom, and rushed up the stairs to my bedroom. I opened the book to the first page again, studying the words that were penned in a rushed, untidy script. If you somehow found this book, lock it away. Do not read on. The 3 ellipses at the end looked more like strokes than dots. Whoever wrote this must have been in quite a hurry. Just as I was about to turn the page, I noticed some more writing in the bottom right corner of the page. The text was illegible. I tried to squint to make out the letters. Initials, it might have been. Another thing I noticed was an unfamiliar quiet that had come over my room. I say unfamiliar because my room had always had some sort of white noise, an air vent hissing or the murmurings of my computer fan. The type of noise you don't really notice unless it's gone. It was then that I had, for the second time, thought to discard the thing that now lay open in front of me, beckoning me, urging me to discover whatever knowledge was hidden within, knowledge the reader was being warned against. Curiosity must have gotten the better of me because I decided to turn the page and page reading. The book depicted a series of murders that took place during the 1970s in my own small town by an unknown assailant. It described murders in grotesque detail, beheadings, disembowelment. Each account had been headed with the victim's name and date they had been murdered. One murder chronicled how a young college student, Sylvia Lang, killed June 17, 1974, had her carotid artery sliced, was suspended upside down from a tree, and left to bleed out. The police had arrived to find a drained corpse, white as the snow beneath it. I suppose the book had to have been typed up with one of those old typewriters since I could see persistent ink blots scattered all over each page. More importantly, all of this had to have been works of fiction. If these events had actually happened, well, the townsfolk would have talked about it non-stop, what, with life being as monotonous as it is around these parts. Yet, there was never any mention of this mysterious killer or killings. No folktales or urban legends even. I was pulled back to earth when my mom lightly tapped on my bedroom door. "Dinner's ready," she proclaimed. "Dinner time already?" I looked out the window to see an orange-colored sky form around a setting sun. How long had I been reading for? I scarfed down my dinner at the table, catching my mother's disapproving eye. "Slow down there, sport," she cautioned. "You'll choke on your mashed potatoes eating like that." "Sorry, I really have to get back to my, homework," I lied. "Can I be excused?" My mother nodded and I raced back up the stairs. As I kept reading, the murders became increasingly violent. There was one account of a man's body being dismembered and then reassembled, only backwards. His limbs were swapped around, his arms where his legs would be, his legs where his arms would be, and his tongue replaced with his genitals. It was remarked that the limbs were expertly sewn back on, as if by a skilled surgeon. I nearly lost my dinner, dry heaving at the image that had been conjured up in my mind. By the time I was done reading, I saw the sun begin to creep up. I heard my mom's high heels clack down the stairs as she left for work. I hadn't slept all night. My eyes burned. I would have gone to bed, but I knew it was an impossible task. The things I read in that book. It scared me, but I couldn't stop reading. I didn't even notice how long I had sat there hunched over the pages. It was almost as if the words had flown off the page and into my head. I don't even remember turning a light on when it got dark. How was I able to read in the dark? My room suddenly felt freezing cold. I was shivering. I quickly put on my coat, grabbed the book, and pedaled as hard as I could on my bike, the icy morning air singeing my cheeks. Once I got to the river, I launched the book into it, watching as the current carried it far away from me and from this place. It was gone. I should have been relieved. But I couldn't. The murders. They weren't just in the 1970s. With each page they became more recent. 1987, 1993, 1998, 2004. The stories even surpassed the present day at one point. I had to stop reading on the last page because the header read, Martha Evans, killed February 2, 2021. That was my mother's name. And it was less than a month from today's date.